here's a book I wrote and rewrote. I wrote this book, Marble and Sculptor, and it was originally subtitled A Personality Type Manifesto, but this time it's Perspectives on Personality. I wrote it back in 2022, and I had to get it out. I had to write it, just put it out there. But over the last probably 18 months, I've been rewriting it, fixing it. I hired a real editor, a real publisher. That's why it actually has a real cover, and there's some of the just formatting and font and all the things that, the details that I missed got fixed. So it actually looks like a real book. It's up on Amazon. If you bought my first book, which many in the audience did, and I either didn't know, and if you did, thank you. I'm not talking about this book per se. The video isn't about this book. It's about the idea that everyone has a book in them. I believe that. I think that there's a time in everyone's life, either personal or professional world, that you figure out that there is something you know really well. You're so passionate about, either you're passionate about it and you must say something about it, or you know so much about a topic that your knowledge could help others, and you are compelled to go out into the world, write it down, and help others. Not the opposite of that, which is, I think I can make money off this. I don't know that much about it, but I'll probably use ChatGPT and a couple other tools to just kind of crank it out. I'll edit it, and I'll try and sell it for 99 cents on Amazon and make some money here. That's not the type of writing that is within all of us. And I'm young-ish, 34. I always thought of writers as much older, academics. They've studied it all their lives, and that's just not true at all. Some people might be saying, well, who's going to read my book? I'm young. I don't have any experience. No one wants to read what I have to say. And, maybe if it's an autobiography, it would be much harder. But there's always something, if you dig and you concentrate and you focus, that you think you have a book in there. Maybe it won't be 600 pages. Maybe it won't be like your magnum opus, but it'll be something. And when I read the book, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, he said that two things that really stuck out to me. Three things, actually. One is that art is confrontation. So we have to talk about something that it will divide. It divides into love and hate. It can't be something we all agree on, because then it's not really challenging any status quo or any current thoughts that we have. The other thing is that if you make art for others to buy, then it is not art, it is commerce. And that was profound, because the goal is to write something from your perspective, because he then says that art is your perspective on the world, and the information doesn't have to be correct. I was like, what? No fact checking? That's not the point. It's, I see the world this way. I'm going to tell everyone about it. And there will be others that see the world that way. Now, maybe a niche audience, maybe a cult audience, but the point is that write it for you and your audience second is the main point. And then at least you could say you wrote something authentic that's a part of you. The thing is, the next question is, why write a book? Who even reads a book? No, the better question is, why should I write a book if I already have a big YouTube channel, a big TikTok following, a Twitter following, if I have a podcast? Why spend the time when I can already have a platform? All those platforms are fleeting. I can go back to my YouTube channel when I first started this and go, yeah, that was what I said then. You have a much more leeway to say, well, that was 2 years ago. I didn't know that much, and that doesn't count. If you write a book, though, because a book is usually edited, it takes time. You don't just write one draft and then you submit it. You have to think about what you're writing. You have to be more committed to your words than you do in a podcast. Sometimes when you're doing something, maybe you did a live interview and you just say what you believe in that moment because you're being asked to be there, so you want to play it up for the audience, or you want to be gracious to your host. So you say stuff that I don't know if I believe that. And that happens all the time. When you write it down, it's more concrete, it's more solidified. Off the cuff speech can easily be dismissed. So, and people still read. I mean, I read more on the Kindle now because it's just easier to read like in bed or on the go than bringing a big, thick 600-page book everywhere. But writing is committal. You're committed, but the other things are non-committal, and you can easily brush them off. So, how do you write a book? Well, what do you care about? What do you know about? What do you know about? What do you care about? And then, what do you want to say so badly that there is no other place, there's no other outlet for your knowledge than to write it down? When you get to that point, you'll know it. You'll be like, okay, it's got to go somewhere. I need to take all this knowledge. It needs to go out. You can only have so many conversations. You can only do so many interviews. You can only do so many podcasts before you're like, I want to take these thoughts and make them concrete. And I love Hemingway's quote, which some people say he didn't say it, but it's, there is nothing to writing. All you have to do is sit down and bleed. So the real question is, what do you bleed for? And I mean, personality type changed my life. I mean, the reason I named it Marble and Sculptor is because of the quote by Alexis Carrel that says, man cannot change without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor. Because it was it still is a process of pain and rebirth and death and rebirth. I want other people to understand that journey is worth it for them because of how profoundly it affected me. Some people could not care less about personality type. It could be the farthest thing from their mind. I am not writing for them. I'm writing for people that are on the path of self-discovery. They're changing their career. They're getting out of a divorce. There's all types of reasons people would be interested in personality type. But the main point is I wrote it from my perspective. And if someone else agrees with it, they'll like it, but it's not really trying to convince people of it. It's to show them how the tool works and for them to discover it themselves. So what would you say is a book that you're thinking about, you want to write it, or what I would love this so much if people could share their book that they wrote, and the Amazon link, the Kindle link, whatever, or PDF. I mean, I'd like to see what y'all wrote, and I'd be really interested to understand your journey and what made you write it. That is like, I'm always interested in a point in someone's mind where they flipped from, this is something I'm interested in, man, it'd be cool to write a book, to, I have to write a book. And then the process by writing it is, I always loved that part too. What was your process? You know, a gentleman that I'm obsessed with right now for his writing styles, James Ellroy. He wrote Black Dahlia and The Cold 6000 and all these neo-noir movies or neo-noir books that became movies, and he does these crazy outlines, and I'm trying to copy his style. He said that he would do, I mean, for one of his books, his outline was 400 pages. Like, you're talking Roman numeral 1 chapter dialogue. That's just the outline. So I'm trying to write my future books in that style, but I'm really interested in other people's styles. Some people dictate. They literally put on, they write it and they run it through like Otter or some program and just scribes it out, and then they edit it, and that could be a real interesting way to do it. So I'm really interested less in like, my book and what I did, but do you think you have a book in you, and what would it be? If you did write a book, post it, comment about it, and then I'd like to know your process. So thank you so much for supporting me. If you're interested in the book, I'll put it in the link, but any reviews or any comments would be great. I appreciate your time as always.